All right, what is up, guys? Wolfric back here, or VV Ulfric, whichever you prefer. This time we're going over the purple cards. We got, first up on the list, we got Kaku, or Kaku, however you say it. A 5 cost, 6,000 power, purple color, Water 7 Galila Company character. This guy's a 1,000 counter. When attacking, Dawn -1. So, you know, you're going to be throwing that back to your deck, your Dawn deck. And then this character gains Banish during this battle. So, and for those who don't know, Banish is when this card deals damage, the target card is trashed without activating its trigger. And it looks like we are getting a lot of trigger abilities, so maybe we'll start seeing more Banish characters. But yeah, this character seems pretty solid. Like, this is just a solid 5-drop. And if I'm not mistaken, let me go back just one slide here. Yeah, for Iceberg, you can play this guy on turn 1 if he's in your hand. You know, that's very solid. And it kind of makes up for the fact that, you know, you can't swing with your leader in the purple decks, right? So on paper, though, just this guy for what he is, he's a 5 cost 6K. You know, he has the 1K counter. And he has a pretty decent ability where you can start banishing cards. The ability's not insane, but, you know, he's just a nice, solid card. I think he's probably slightly above average, maybe a little bit above average, around 6.5 out of 10. Okay, let's go to the next character. Khalifa. Khalifa is a 4 cost, 4,000 power, 2,000 counter, okay. Purple, Water 7, Galila Company character. Her effect is, when attacking, Dawn -1, draw 2 cards, and trash 1 card from your hand. Now, that is when attacking, but it's still a very solid effect. This card is solid. First of all, it's a 2K counter, so it's automatically a 7 or higher because it can be used in any purple deck. Just simply because of the fact it's a 2K counter. I think the effect is kind of meh. You know, I think it's pretty mediocre. It's when attacking, but she's a 4K. There's just other things you want to attack with, and she's a 2K counter. It's a decent effect, though, when she does attack to draw 2 and trash 1. You know, that in and of itself is good. But overall, I'd say she's a 2K counter. I'll put her at a 7.5. Yeah, 7.5. Okay. We got Kiwi and Mozu. All right. This is your standard 2 cost, 4K power, 1K counter, vanilla. Water 7, Frankie family, 5 out of 10, very standard, very average. Okay. Next, Kokoro. This is a 1 cost, 2,000 power, 1,000 counter searcher. It's a Merfolk Water 7 type, you know, purple character. On play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Water 7 type card other than Kokoro, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is your standard. I'll give it a 7. I think all searchers, I'm just going to have a standard cost for them, where it's like, you know, unless it's just an exceptionally good searcher. This is just look at your top 5 cards, reveal up to 1 Water 7 type other than Kokoro, and add it to your hand, then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is, you know, excuse me, in my personal opinion, these cards are all just solid 7s. You know, they still require the entire deck to be good for this card to be good, right? So, in general, giving it a 7, it works. Gets you to what you need to. You know, gets you to what you need to get to. Okay, we got Zambi, I don't know. This is a 3 cost, 2,000 power, 0 counter, purple character, Water 7, the Frankie family. He is a blocker, okay. On play, Dawn -1. Excuse me. If your leader has the Water 7 type, draw 1 card. Okay, you know, that's really not bad. That is a cantrip, right? Like, at least, you know, for those who don't know, you know, there's something called a cantrip. It kind of comes from, I believe it comes from Magic the Gathering. You know, the idea is you can't rip a good card off the top, you know, so the cantrip became an actual thing in Magic the Gathering, an actual keyword. And that's what this is. This comes into play and draws a card. This is just like the 4-drop Kuzan for black, for Navy, where it's just pay for comes in play, you draw a card, and you got a 5K body. Now, this guy is a lot smaller, but he's a blocker. So, and this, you know, this is a 3-drop, return 1 Dawn to draw a card if your leader's a Water 7. This is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Like, this card's not going to go and win any games, but it's going to help you get through your deck faster, and it's a blocker. Is it going to die? Probably instantly, yeah. But it doesn't matter because it replaced itself immediately and made them use one of the removals on this guy. I don't think it's insane, but it's a nice, solid card draw effect. It is missing a counter, so I am going to give it a 6.5. So it's better than average in the fact that it draws a card, but it doesn't have a counter. So, you know, I got to take some points off for that. It would normally be a 7 because it's a cantrip. Like, I think any card that just draws the turn it comes into play is automatically worth a 7.5, generally speaking, but there are exceptions to that. But in this case, yeah, I'm going to have to give him a 6.5 because he has no counter at all, and he's not exactly insane. But he maybe should be a 7. 6.5 to 7, depends. But I'm going to go with 6.5. Okay, Tilestone. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, purple character. He has a 1,000 counter. So far, so good. Excuse me. Water 7, Galila Company. On KO, if your leader has the Galila Company type, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So remember, this is that 5-cost, right? This is that magical, you know, 5-costed card for your leader ability. So this guy can come into play. And of course, I'm talking about Iceberg. I'll go back real quick so you can see what I'm saying. You know, Dawn -1, activate main. And notice this doesn't say, oh, you have to rest the leader. Okay, I was saying it doesn't say once per turn, but you do have to rest the leader. Grab a 5-cost or less from your deck. Or from your hand, excuse me, from your hand. So this guy, he's coming into play. And then when he dies, you add the Dawn that he cost back and rest it back. You know, you add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So he kind of pays for himself when he dies. 1K counter, 5. Yeah, this is solid, especially in this type of deck. You know, in this type of, you know, this kind of theme. I give him a nice 6.5. Nothing crazy. He's not like unbelievable, but he's just better than average. Okay. 2 cost, 2,000 power, purple character, 1,000 counter, animal water 7 type, blocker. This is your 2 cost, 2K, 1K counter, blocker. This is a 5. This is a 5 out of 10. This is your standard blocker, or 2 cost blocker rather. Very average. Paulie, okay. This guy looks fancy on the card here, and he's a super rarity apparently. So 5 cost, 6,000 power, purple character. His types are Water 7, Galila Company. No counter. Effect on play, pay 2. So he really costs 7 if you're going to do this effect. Add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Then, if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Okay, I would consider this a 7-drop, 6K power, 0 counter. The effect is strong in that, like, if you play it when you have 7 Dawn, right, it will ramp you to 8, and you'll get to KO a 4 or less on your opponent's characters. But the thing is, you know, this guy's not exactly unbelievable in this regard, because let's just like try to compare against other things that we know of that are 5 cost, you know. Or even 7 cost. I'll go to 7 cost. Sakazuki from the Black Navy decks. He's a 6 cost. So I mean, really, he's like 1 cost less than this guy because you have to pay the 2 just to get this effect. So he's like 1 cost less, and he is a 7,000 power, and can KO someone who's 5 or less. So I'm gonna say that yes, this card is solid. But this is by no means, you know, on the level of what I would expect something to be that costs 7 to play and get the effect. Because, yeah, you can play him as a 5 cost, you know. I guess that's the idea, right? Is you can play him straight from your hand as your turn 1 play, right, in the Iceberg deck. But is that really... I don't know. It could be really strong. It definitely could be very strong. And then when you get it later in the game, he can help you ramp up. Okay, so after talking about it, I do give it a little more credit than I originally gave it. I'll give it a 7.5. I don't think this card is unbelievable. I don't think it's broken. It does not have a counter. He's only a 6K. Yes, you can play him with the leader's ability turn 1, but later in the game, ramping your Dawn, at that point, your opponent's probably been on 10 Dawn now for how many turns, right? It's nice to catch up. But I have to give this a 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. Solid card, but, you know, if it had a little more power, then maybe I think I would give it a better score. Okay, and this is the same character. This is the parallel art. Really cool looking. Peeply Lulu. Peeply Lulu. He is a 5 cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter, purple character with water type, or water 7 type, and Galila Company type. His effect is Dawn 1 when attacking. If your leader has the Galila Company type, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So it is when attacking. So, you know, you're probably going to get this effect off maybe once a game, maybe twice if you're just, you know, unbelievably dedicated to saving him. I think this card is solid. You know, it's a little understated for its cost, though, right? I think this is a 5 cost, right? This goes right in line with the new leader's ability. You want to play him turn 1, so that way next turn you attach your Dawn to him when attacking. He swings for 6, and then you add up to 1 Dawn. And this is just when attacking. You don't have to KO anything or trash anything. It's just, you know, Dawn times 1 when attacking. If your leader has the Galila Company type, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So, you know, this is definitely in line with what they're doing, because, you know, this is almost like a 1-drop in their deck. He has the 1K counter, unlike the last guy we looked at, Paulie. I'll put this guy at 7.5 as well as Paulie. It's just an incredibly solid character. He kind of takes the place of your leader almost, right? Like, because, you know, your leader can't swing. So you're going to want to play this guy on turn 1, right? But very solid. I think it's a solid card. I'm going to give it a 7 or a 7.5. I'll go with 7.5. Okay, we got Minozebra. Minozebra, whatever his name is. He is a 4 cost, 5K power, 1K counter, blocker. Or no, excuse me, that's banish, not blocker. Wait a minute. Did I miss one? I got to see something. No, that was a blocker. And this guy was a blocker. Okay, I thought I was crazy there with that, because that blocker has the same kind of look as banish. Sorry about that. In fact, is it not? I wonder if it's a mistranslation. No, that does look different. All right, I'm sorry about that, guys. This is banish. And then on KO, if your leader has the Impel Down type, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Okay, so this is more for the Impel Down, Jailer Beast type stuff. I think this is fine. I think this card's fine. It's a 4/5. It still has the 1 counter, even though it lost the 1K stat. It gets banished, and it has an on KO effect. I would put this at as above average around. I'll put it around a 6.5. It's nothing crazy, but it is solid, and it can provide tempo, or, you know, some, you know, regaining of tempo in the decks that lose Dawn. This card's fine. It's like I said, 6.5. Mino Rhinoceros. Minor. No, I'm not going to do it. Okay, I say Mino Rhinoceros. This is a 3-costed 5K purple character, Impel Down Jailer Beast. On KO, if your leader has Impel Down type, draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. That effect is nice, but that's only if your leader has the Impel Down type. Very exclusive, very unfortunate. I'm going to put it and it has a cantrip where it draws 2 and discards 1, which is even better than a normal cantrip, right? Like, it's even better than a normal draw effect. So I'll give this one I'm going to give it for the KO effect alone, but it only applies to Impel Down. I'm just going to have to give it, like, so in other words, if you're not running Impel Down, this card's trash, right? But you'd only run it in an Impel Down deck. Let's just consider it that way. And in that case, I'll give it a 6.5. But yeah, in any other deck, it'd be absolutely not even worth running. It'd just be a 3/5 with no counter. All right, we got Monkey D. Luffy. Got a 6 cost, 7k power. All right, purple character. Water 7 Straw Hat Crew type. Effect. On play, Dawn -1. You may trash one character card with a cost of 5 from your hand. This character gains rush during this turn. Excuse me. All right, so that kind of goes in line with the Luffy stuff. It's usually kind of rush oriented, I feel like. Or like unblockable or stuff like that, you know, attacking characters. Or that's not so OP4, excuse me. At least I don't think. So anyway, Monkey D. Luffy. It's fine. There's no counter, but it is anything over 6 costed, I think typically doesn't have a counter unless it's literally a vanilla, like a 6 cost 8k power with 1k counter. But this, I think this plays into it fine. The on play Dawn -1, it's pretty good, you know, to get rush, but you know, who would not rather just have a 5 cost 6,000 with rush, and if you attach 2, he becomes unblockable, right? You know, and of course I'm talking about the 5 cost Monkey D. Luffy from red. I don't think this card's especially good at anything. I understand rush is not a common theme in purple from if I remember correctly, but this card, excuse me, it's kind of mediocre to me. I just put it at a 5. I'll put it at a 5.5 since it can at least get rush. But for 6 cost 7k, I mean, that's just, you know, I don't know. That doesn't seem as good to me personally. It's just like a super worse version of the 5 cost one in red. All right. Because even if you play the 5 cost one on red on turn 6, like to compromise or to get to the value here of this card, well, it's still a 5 cost 7k swinging if you attach that Dawn to it. And you didn't have to return any Dawn, you know. And you may trash one character card with the cost of 5 from your hand. This character gains... I got to go even lower than that. It's a Water 7 Straw Hat Crew, so I don't know about synergies with it. So just judging this card in a vacuum, I have to give this thing like... I'll give it a 5 since it at least can have rush. You know, it potentially can have rush. Okay. Now we got Rob Lucci. This is a 5 cost, 6k power, 1k counter. That's solid already. Purple character, Water 7 Galila Company type. Effect, when attacking, Dawn -1. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So... this card's pretty solid. You know, I mean, you're resting a character. I mean, yeah, I give this a 7.5. I won't spend much time on it. I'll just go straight into a 7.5. It's, you know, it's better than average since it has this attacking effect. Yeah, it's Dawn -1, but we know, purple has ways of getting Dawn back. Rests up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. It gets these blockers out of your way. Or lines up attacks on them. I'd have to check. Someone answer below if you know. He declares an attack on someone, right? He has to declare his attack first. And when you declare attack, you have to choose your target, right? So you wouldn't be able to attack the character that you're about to rest, or would you be able to rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less? But again, it's when attacking. So you attack against whoever, and then this effect happens, right? Or can you declare? I'd have to check the ordering on that. If you can rest the person you want to KO and then swing at them with this ability, then it's really good. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. But as is, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Like if it doesn't do that, and I don't believe it does. But if someone knows in the comments below, please do share. Tell me if that's right or wrong. Okay, Gum Gum Jet Gatling. This is a 0 cost event, purple, Water 7 Straw Hat Crew type. Effect, you may trash one card from your hand. Up to one of your leaders or characters gains plus 2,000 during this battle. And then trigger, add up to one Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set as active. I think this is solid. I think this is a very average card for what it is, you know. Maybe, actually, I'll give it slightly above average since it's a 3,000 counter for 0. You just throw a card out of your hand that you couldn't use to counter anyway, and you do this for 3,000. So yeah, I'll actually give this a 7. I'll give this a 7 out of 10. And the trigger definitely keeps it there. Okay. Don't want to spend too much time on that one. Hull Dismantler Slash. This is a 1-cost purple event with Water 7 and the Frankie family type. With effect main, Don -1. If your leader has the Water 7 type, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. If your leader's Water 7. And then triggers activate this card's main effect. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this one. It's a 2 or less. It is just for 1, but you're returning a Dawn. I'm going to put this at a 5 out of 10. Just totally average. This seems just completely average for an event card for purple. Top Knot. 2 costs. Purple event. Water 7. Gala Company type. Effect. Dawn -2. Place up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Okay, see now this one I already like better than the last one. First of all, it's a cost of 4 or less, so it's 2 better for 1 extra Dawn, right? Is that correct? Yeah, for 1 extra Dawn, you're doing it to something that's 2 cost more, and it doesn't KO them, so it places up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. Yeah, I think this is just strictly better than the other one, even though I know it's like this one's 1, Dawn -1, and this one's 2, Dawn -2. Excuse me. This one I feel like is just strictly better. And trigger activate this card's main effect. Yeah, because this can just, like a Borsalino's in your way, no problem, just put on the bottom of their deck. This card's solid. I'll give this a 7. 7.5. I'll give this a 7.5. Okay, and this should be the last one. The stages are usually last, right? Yep, then we'll be in the black cards. Galila Company. That's literally what it's called. It's a 3-cost purple stage that's typed Water 7 and Galila Company. Effect, activate main. You may rest this stage. If your leader is Iceberg, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Okay. Yeah. This is a flat out 7.5, you know. It's a 3. If it was a 1 cost or a 2 cost where you could potentially get it on turn 1. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. If you could potentially get this on turn 1, it would be like a 9 or a 10. But getting it on turn... I'm sorry about that, guys. I had to clear my throat. Getting this on turn 2... Yeah, it's quite the... It'll definitely... It could be better. But at the same time, you figure with the leader's effect and this is definitely... I'll give it a 7.5. I'll give this a 7.5. Because you do still have to... If you get it late in the game, you're going to be using this as one of the cards you pitch, right? Like, as you know, when we were looking back at cards that require a pitch... Where was it? I think it was the Luffy card, wasn't it? Yeah, this one. You may trash one. No, you can't even use that. Yeah, I don't know. Later in the game, once you have more than one of these, it just becomes pretty lackluster. I'm gonna give it a 7 because of that. I'm gonna go with 7, guys. Well, all right. So that's all the purple cards. I think the big winners here is, first of all, Top Knot. I think that one was really solid. Rob Lucci, solid. Monkey Luffy's was okay. It wasn't my favorite. Paulie was pretty good after I thought about it more. You know, this is a pretty solid card overall. I think it's going to be pretty good. Because like I said, you could just play it on turn 1. And then like later on turn 3 or 4 or something when you have extra Dawn. Or maybe 4 or 5 in a deck like this. You could end up playing him to ramp your Dawn up quick. And get the effect, right? You know, then you'll be able to get the effect to KO stuff. KO of 4 cost or less. But yeah, overall, I think purple got some really solid cards. Got a 2K counter in Khalifa. This is solid. And the effect is whatever, but still, you know, pretty good stuff overall. Pretty good stuff. This Kaku one, this one was okay as well. But because one thing you have to remember if you're putting together these purple decks, if you're piecing it together in your mind, you have to always consider the fact that anything that is a 5 cost or less, you can play on turn 1 with your leader's ability. So, overall, I think he got some really solid stuff, but nothing crazy, that's for sure. I haven't seen anything too crazy from Purple in this new set coming out for us in the West. So, yep, hope you liked it. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like and a subscribe. And until next time, we're going to be going over the black cards. I will see you then. Peace.